You know, we have this idea that cheating is something only bad people do. But what if that's just not the whole picture? Today, we're going to break down the pretty surprising psychology of how even good people, people in happy relationships, can end up crossing a line they swore they never would. Okay, so this whole conversation really kicks off with one, honestly, shocking statistic. Research shows that a staggering 60% of people who cheat actually describe themselves as being in a happy relationship. So this isn't about escaping something terrible, it's something else entirely. It's a psychological process, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack. So this begs the huge question, right? Are some people just born to be cheaters? Well, the evidence points to a pretty clear no. It turns out it's not really about a specific personality type. It's much more about a journey down a specific path. It's a process, not a predisposition. And that process, believe it or not, starts really, really small. And that leads us right into stage one, the first lie. This is the starting line. It's that single, tiny step that kicks off the whole cascade. And it's right here that our brain's most powerful defense mechanism fires up. I love this analogy. Think of your brain as your own personal and very, very skilled lawyer. Its main job? To defend your self-image at all costs. So when you do something that doesn't quite line up with your belief that you're a good person, like, say, telling one small lie, this lawyer immediately gets to work. It whispers in your ear, "It's fine. You're a good person. This is just a tiny mistake. It's just an exception." And there's actually a name for this whole process. It's called the Rationalization Engine. Now, this isn't just about making a simple excuse. Oh no, it's a powerful cognitive trick that literally reframes an unacceptable action into something that feels justifiable. It's the engine that powers that very first step, not just in cheating, but in any small compromise we make against our better judgment. And once that first lie gets the green light from our brain's internal legal team, we are on to stage two, addictions start. Because now you're standing at the top of a very, very slippery slope. What started as just one little step, well, now it has momentum. You've probably heard of this, right? It's the classic slippery slope theory. That first little transgression, it just erodes the barrier of resistance. It makes the next slightly bigger one feel less significant, and the one after that even easier. You start sliding, and it gets harder and harder to put on the brakes. But why? Why does this happen? Well, it's not just psychology, it's biochemistry. This is where we run into what you could call dopamine's betrayal. There's this incredibly powerful chemical reward for getting away with that first lie, and it's often called the cheater's high.
So let's break the cycle down. First, you tell that small lie, and you rationalize it. Step two, your brain rewards you for succeeding with a little hit of dopamine, and that feels good. It feels like a win. But then comes step three, desensitization. The guilt starts to fade, and your brain builds up a tolerance. Lying basically becomes like a drug. Pretty soon, you need a bigger lie or bigger risk to get that same initial rush.
So what does this escalation actually look like in the real world? It often shows up as something called digital camouflage. These are seemingly small behaviors, right? Turning a phone face down on the table, meticulously deleting chat histories, hiding online activity. Each one is another step further down that slope. All right, so if this is such a powerful psychological and biological process, is there an escape? Are we just doomed? Yes, there is a way out, but it's probably not what you're thinking. The answer is all about prevention, not willpower. Here's the thing, and this is absolutely crucial. You can't just trust willpower. As you can see here, willpower is a finite resource. It's like a muscle that gets tired. It fails when you're stressed, when you're caught off guard. The far, far more effective strategy is what's called situation design, proactively and strategically removing the temptation before you ever have to fight. And here's a really powerful, practical tool for doing just that. It's called the 10-10-10 rule. Before you make a choice, just stop and ask yourself 3 questions. How will I feel about this in 10 minutes? How will it affect my life in 10 months? And what will the consequences be in 10 years? This simple exercise literally snaps you out of that short-term dopamine chase and forces you to connect with the real, long-term impact of your action. So when you boil it all down, the most effective strategy is actually the simplest one. Just remove the ladder of temptation altogether. If a certain app is a trigger for you, delete it. If certain situations, maybe involving alcohol, lead to poor decisions, then avoid them. Don't try to be strong enough to climb the ladder without falling. Just get rid of the ladder. Prevention is always, always stronger than willpower. And that brings us to our final thought. Look, this isn't really just about infidelity. This three-stage process of rationalization, escalation, and prevention applies to pretty much any area of life where small compromises can lead to big problems. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what is your personal ladder of temptation? And what's one step you can take today to just remove it?